Hi. So it's been a while. Basically I just got really caught up in school. I just finished my first year of university actually. So sorry for not being here for a while. I will be back now, hopefully with a more consistent schedule. I do have to make up a class in spring, but I don't think that's going to be that much of a timing issue for this, for, the channel and everything. So one good thing about that kind of prolonged period where I wasn't making videos was I learned a lot about my study habits and a lot about my general productivity and how that relates to maladaptive daydreaming. So I thought I'd mention some of the things I'd noticed. Because if any of you can relate, oh my god, that would be like that's the goal. I just want to know that I'm not like suffering alone and we are all in this together. Because I just want to know that I'm not alone, and like I want you guys to know that you're not alone. So if you struggle with keeping focused and motivated in school like I do, then we're getting through it together. Online school has absolutely just ruined my academic career, I'd say. Like before this pandemic, I was a straight A student. I was like in clubs and doing sports. I was like basically just keeping myself busy because my coping strategy for not daydreaming was if I'm busy doing other things all the time, then I'm not busy daydreaming. So it was like if I kept myself busy 24 hours a day, then that was how I reduced my daydreaming hours. Obviously that's harder to do when everything is canceled and you're at home all day. So my daydreaming increased when we went online because I wasn't doing all my extra activities anymore. So I had all of my time after school to daydream. I wasn't motivated to do school because it just sort of felt optional. Like I was in my first year of high school when we first went online. So like, yeah, everything in my second half of my second semester of my grade 12 year just felt optional, and I had no motivation to finish it. I had a little more motivation going into university just because it was a new environment. It was still just my room, but like the thought I am technically a university student. I'm technically supposed to be at a different campus, responsible for my own learning, my own choices, and I could just do what I wanted to do. Motivated me a little bit, but again, that quickly died down and I realized online school friggin' sucks. I was not ready to handle the amount of the workload. I didn't expect that amount of workload, which was a reflection of me and not the school itself, but like I just was not ready for how much actually had to be done. And I actually didn't realize how poor my own study habits were until when one of my new friends actually was talking about his study habits, and I was like, oh no, this is it was a lot, because it was like I was doing very minimal amounts of studying and it was not effective, and so it wasn't working, and I was like, well, guess I'm stressed, I'll just daydream more. And obviously that continued the spiral of everything getting worse. And then he was telling me about his study habits and how effective study habits should actually be, and I was able to take his advice and adapt them to my own situation. So here's what I've learned over my hiatus that I would like to share with you, because if maybe some of you are in school or struggling to stay motivated, maybe this is something that could help you. Maybe you have study tips and advice for me, because oh my god, I'm still a disaster, and coming up for the fall semester, I'm gonna need them. What I found was my biggest issue is I wasn't paying attention to classes when they were going up. Like if I had a live Zoom lecture, or if I had just lectures I needed to watch, just videos I needed to watch, I wasn't watching them. I was either daydreaming or doing something else. I wasn't paying attention to the lectures. And what really helped me force myself to pay attention was turning on my camera. Now let me be clear, I hated every second that that camera was on, but the fact that that camera was on was like an awareness in me. It was like, people are potentially looking at me, so I can't be off, and I can't be like hunched, like not like hunched over, but like I can't be like spaced out, like looking down off to the side and like shaking. I can't like that. No, that's more embarrassing for me. For like, no, I was not going to show up to class and do that. No way. My self-esteem could not handle that if everyone in my class saw me do that. So I was paying attention to how my camera looked in the lecture, which meant I was paying attention somewhat to the lecture. Like, obviously my mind was still mostly on the camera thing, but the fact that I was tuned into the computer as opposed to my brain or my phone was just much better than what I had done with my camera off, because I was still looking at the slides. My camera was in a little corner, but I could still see the slides in my view. And that information, I was reading the information and I was listening more actively. I was more attentive to what my professors were saying, and I actually learned stuff. The amount I was scared of having my camera on did not outweigh the benefit of me actually paying attention, and I know that's not the same for everyone. So this was something that worked for me, and if you think it'll work for you, then try it. But like, no, I'm not saying, but like, I know that turning on your camera is a lot, it's scary. But I just found that the pros outweighed the cons for me, so that's why I continued to do it. But again, it worked for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you or be an option for you. My next two tips are for kind of studying in review and getting work done, like out of class work, like assignments and essays. And I found two things really helped me get through the last semester. The first one, writing lists. It literally saved me for my big crunch time period at the end of the semester where I had so many things due. So basically I would just write down everything I had to get done in a week on one sticky note. Then on another sticky note, I'd break down those things into smaller tasks. So for example, if I had to write an 1,000-word essay, I would write 100-word intro paragraph, write 250-word body paragraph, write second 250-word, and I'd break it down so that by the time when I finished a paragraph, I could cross it off. And crossing things off of a list feels so good. It literally just, seeing those crossed off lines is everything. So I would have my one main list of everything I needed to get done in a week, and then I'd have my other smaller lists. I'd do it at the beginning of the week. I'd break down all of my tasks, and the smaller ones I would keep somewhat out of my clear sight. I put them on the side of my desk instead of in the front, so that when I decided I was going to work on a certain activity, I would take out that sticky note and put it in my main site, so that I wasn't overwhelmed by how much little stuff I had to get done. But like, out of my 5 tasks I had to get done, I would cross off all the things on the little sticky note and then cross off something on the big sticky note. And watching the big sticky note get crossed off was the best feeling of just relief and satisfaction and like accomplishment. Like, I did it, I finished something. But I didn't have to wait until I finished the entire project to get those little bits of satisfaction. I could get, for finishing a paragraph, I could cross something off. For finishing half of a lab, I could cross something off. And that crossing off of something just gave me accomplishment and motivated me to keep going. So keeping lists for stuff you need to get done, and then breaking those tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces, that's what got me through my first year of university. My second tip is study with people. And obviously that's really hard to do with online, but I found one of my friends, we would both just go on a Discord call and we would both just work. Like, he's in a completely different program with me, and he's in a completely different year than me. Like, our work was not related in the slightest. We could not help each other with what we were doing, but we would go on a Discord call and we would just work, and just hearing, like, occasionally his typing would come through the audio, and occasionally my typing would go through, and just knowing that someone else is there working on something was so motivating. And I don't get why, but it was just like, we were both way more productive when we were on call with each other than if we weren't, because it was like, we were on a Discord call. We couldn't go on another one with our other friends and procrastinate by playing video games together like we would usually, like with our group of friends, like we usually would, because we were in a Discord call already. I would turn off anyway my Discord notifications and just work. And then occasionally we talk about, like, kind of simple things, just kind of like how our day went, like, oh, the weather's gonna be nice, like stuff that didn't take brain power, like just kind of small talk, because, like, just kind of acknowledging each other's presence, but we would both still be working, and it was so nice to just be working with another person. So I highly, highly recommend finding a person that it isn't just awkward silence, even if it's like, and then just even calling them and just saying, oh, well, you're just going about your day-to-day life. Just knowing somebody's there, I found was very, very helpful. Also, studying like that and working like that with another person stopped my biggest daydreaming habit for when I'm studying. So what I would do is I would study as my parame. And so by the time I got to the test or the due date of the assignment, I wouldn't really know the information, because my brain wasn't focused on learning the information. My brain was focused on being my parame. But being on a call with my friend forced me to stay me, because he would, again, just like occasionally just ask a question, like a kind of small talkish question, and I would have, like, I can't just ignore him. I have to reply as me. I can't reply as Bailey. I can't reply as a parame. And so it would keep me out of that headspace and in the studying and working headspace, which is something that I always struggled to do before. And it's like, I don't know, it's just being with another person, the expectations that you have to be yourself, you have to be in your body, that expectation is what keeps me here in this reality. So having that expectation, even in a virtual setting when we're not actually together, was amazing, and it made me finish so many of my projects on time with actual quality work and not just panic assignment, like not just panic work done an hour before the due date. My other kind of mini tips: don't study in your room, don't do all your work in your room, find somewhere else to do stuff. I would be moving all over my house to do stuff. I would be in my living room one day, I would be in my kitchen one day. I was just lying on the floor of my bathroom doing school one day, like just switching it up. Go somewhere, do something, force yourself to get out of bed, out of your, like, get dressed and go walk somewhere, even if it's only a few steps away. It made a lot of difference, because it was just a different environment to something I've been in all the time. And so that was also something that I found really helpful. And go for walks. If the weather is nice and you have a time to just kind of take a break, go for a walk. Like, the fresh air will clear your mind so much. The fresh air it's so underrated. Like, what? No, like, honestly, going for walks was a lifesaver. If I couldn't focus, if I knew I was in a daydreaming mood, if I just couldn't fight it, if I just couldn't get it to go away, and I was daydreaming, then it was time to go for a walk. Going outside, breathing in the fresh air, and also I go for long walks. So like usually it's like an hour to 2 hours are my walks. So it gives me, like, I'll just say, yep, I'll go for a walk, and then I'll daydream on my walk. I'll daydream the entire walk, and by the time I get home, I'll have daydreamed for 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours, and I can have more control for the next hour to 2 hours. And then it just, so it's like if I'm feeling absolutely like I can't do anything, I'm not saying give in, but listen to what your body and your mind are telling you, because again, forcing yourself to go to work when you literally just your brain is not here isn't going to be effective or helpful. You're not going to remember the information for the test. You're not going to actually produce work that's going to be of the quality you set yourself. It's not going to be as good as if you had some control. So in times when I would have no control, I would just go for a walk and then just kind of prioritize that sort of my mental well-being and saying, well, I know I shouldn't be daydreaming, but I'm not gaining anything working, so if I can daydream for a bit and maybe gain some control afterwards and then trying to get my work done, that's going to be more beneficial for me in the long run mentally and in the long run academically when I hand in work that I'm actually proud of, or more proud of than work that I would have handed in trying to work through and power through those no control times. So yeah, online school. That's what I've learned about my study habits and what I need to do in order to be productive. Obviously, I still have a long way to go. I haven't focused on my study habits since going online, so I've had to kind of rework so much of my kind of plan for this kind of academic stuff, and I need all the help I can get, especially from other maladaptive daydreamers. So if you guys have study tips, please share them because I need help. Again, I'm so sorry about the break, but I just needed to get school done and I couldn't focus on this and school at the same time. It was just too much going on and I couldn't find a way to just set aside time to film and edit, especially since most of my family is home and I don't film when they're home because they just kind of walk in and barge in, and so like getting time to film is become more and more scarce. So I'm sorry. I hope to be back to a regular uploading schedule, and I will try and I will be more communicative if something like this does happen again. I want to thank all of you guys for being here and watching this video, and I hope that all of you are surviving and thriving in your lives because I know it's hard right now, but things are going to get better. Thank you for taking another step with me on my never-ending journey, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!